guys, Jeremiah at Roosters Harley Davidson. If you have a noise like that, that is bad news for you. But it doesn't have to be that bad. We're going to talk a little today about the twin cam motor and some of the things that go on with that as far as the cam chain tensioners are concerned. So here we go. What we have right here is basically a twin cam setup. I have this one kind of set up for demonstration purposes here. I call it a twin cam because there are two cams. They are almost identical. If we take a look at the front plate here, we see something missing. That's one of our tensioners. We have a long chain that runs along here and goes right around this. And this tensioner, which by the way, this is actually supposed to look like that, rides right along there and then it rides along the chain. I'll give you some reference here. In any case, what happens with these older style tensioners, and we're talking about 05 and earlier model motorcycles, come with this style of tensioner. And this style of tensioner worked for them. In most cases with synthetic oil, it does have a pretty good service life on it. However, in recent years, we've been seeing more and more of them, even with synthetic oil, where the tensioner's been wearing out, and you end up with a tensioner that now looks like that. Get a good picture of that. There's also a chain that runs there, obviously. So what happens is this. Well, basically what happens is that once the tensioner part, the pad, wears out, it goes metal on metal. There's a little pin here that retains the plastic shoe, and then the chain basically rides on this metal part until ultimately you end up with bits and pieces. Okay? Your oil pump sits right underneath this. It actually sits on the back side of the plate right here, and that assembly is right here. This goes around and it squeezes the oil through these passages here, right through here, squeezes the oil through there, and then puts them out holes in the oil pump, pressure holes in the oil pump. Now this is the new one. This is the Screaming Eagle one. This is the old one out of this bike. And if we put them side by side, you can see the difference in wear. See all the little rings and stuff? Which Harley says doesn't matter. What they do say that matters is these little nicks and chips on the gears. That's where they're saying you're going to lose oil pressure at. And that's true. That does happen. Now we notice we have a feed pump in here, and we also have a return pump. Both pumps are in here. They're driven by the same thing. This one's pretty well damaged because this oil pump basically sits in here on the cam plate on the back side. I probably got this wrong. I think it sits like that. And this is where it sucks up oil out of the bottom of the cam compartment. And here's your cam compartment right here. That's basically your motor. When that happens, when it sucks up those metal pieces from your tensioner, it's going to put metal through the motor. Or it can. When it does that, your filter is supposed to catch most of that. What we do when we get these bikes in and we check them, we'll actually cut the oil filter apart. If we see metal shavings in the oil filter, it's a pretty good indicator that the metal has passed through the filter, even though it's supposed to catch it, and went to the rest of the motor. And that's bad because you end up either rebuilding the whole motor. You can see some major damage on this one, or you end up replacing it. In this case, this guy chose to replace it. All right, so this is the old style setup. if you have a 2005 and earlier, roughly right around 30 to 40,000 miles. It wouldn't hurt to have the cam support plate checked. We can go in there, we can see the wear. This is a brand new tensioner. We can see the wear. Basically without doing anything else, we can check it and make sure that it's okay for you. You know, by the way, this, when you have metal that runs through the motor, it wears obviously all the bearings and stuff, but it'll also wear on the cams. We're checking cam wear when we go into that and take a look at them. Also the lifters. Lifters get really bad. This one here is pretty well pitted up. So we look at replacing all this stuff. This is also a great time if you're going into this, you're wanting to prevent a problem later on down the road by going to the new system, which I'll show you here in a second. This is a good time to do an upgrade on the motor kit. Go from an 88 to a 95. Now I'm going to show you the new system here. This is the new kit. This is a picture right out of the catalog. And voila, we got it sitting right here. This is the new style kit, and a couple differences between these two. First off, this one is a cast plate. This is a piece of billet. One piece of aluminum. It's cut out, ported and drilled, all ready to go. This is a lot stronger piece. This is a Screaming Eagle one. Comes with a high volume oil pump. Increases the feed by 23%, I believe, and the scavenging by 50%. Harley Davidsons have always had an issue with scavenging oil, that is getting the oil out of the crankcase and back into the oil tank again. A lot better setup. And then this is the real trick part here. This is the key to everything. If we were to have cams and stuff on this and the chain was on there, this is the tensioner piece. A lot more surface area there for you. It's also a different material. Been wearing a lot better. They started using these. And it's also hydraulic pressure. There's no more spring tension on this thing. This is all hydraulic. So your oil pump actually pressurizes this tensioner and then rides on that chain and puts pressure on that chain. Now, what happens there? I'm just going to pull this apart real carefully. There is metal inside of this, but it's very little. There's a little plunger, a little piston, and then a little spring here. And this system has been working for them since 2006. It's been working really well for them. We haven't had any issues with these going bad as of yet. This is the real key to success on the hydraulic cam support plate. Now, a lot of guys talk about gear-driven cams. That is, gear on gear. We eliminate the tensioners altogether. We no longer have to worry about that. That is great. That's a great idea. I'm going to talk about that a little bit here too. Harley Davidson changed the spec on the runout for their pinion shaft. This is a crankshaft, obviously, but they changed the runout spec on it right here. In other words, if it's moving up and down like this, which, by the way, this is going to go in just like that, and then we end up bolting that gear right there to the crankshaft. Anyways, this goes up and down or side to side, whatever, and that's why we have to have the chain tensioner part of it on there. It takes up the tightness and the slop that would be on the tensioner as this thing goes back and forth. When they changed the spec here on this to be greater, now if you have a gear drive system and the gears are meshed together, they have no place to go. They're just going to bind and grind. The gear drive systems are also a lot louder. They usually whine quite a bit. On this tensioner system, on the hydraulic tensioner system, it's a lot quieter, and it's been working, and it's a Harley Davidson part, so why not stick with that? All right, so in any case, this is what I want to talk to you guys about today. Something to really get checked out, something that should be done, especially if you're hearing noise. If you're hearing noise like what we showed you in the first clip, you definitely have an issue, you need to bring it in. Right now is a good time to do that. If you have any other questions, come down and talk to either me or Catlin. And thanks.